Greetings, everyone. Truth be told, life is always a challenge. It is a time of unpredictable rip currents, and at other times an uplifting of hopes and dreams. Every now and then there comes a spark of dreams and the thought of all the potentially good possibilities. This gives one the feeling and a belief that they no longer have to be afraid. On the other hand, ignorance is a convenient excuse for disengagement. It's a sense of a lack of power and ownership. This is the time for one to become more immersed and more engaged in finding solutions to this powerlessness. This is not the time to despair. At this point, there are no detours, there's no turning back, and no other options. This is the time to focus on what is possible. Recently, I found myself reading about Maine's economic forecast projected by the Maine Consensus Economic Commission, released in February 2016 for the years 2015 through 2019. Now, there were some good things in that report. For example, a decline in oil and gas prices, increases in the sales of existing family homes, and a decrease in mortgage delinquency rates. However, there were other areas that might put some people in a state of despair. Small business optimism for the state peaked in December of 2014. The Center for Workforce Research has developed a new 10-year workforce forecast for the period ending in 2024. The bottom line is that Maine's population growth is likely to limit employment growth over the next few years. It is clear that the national forecasts are overly optimistic in their population and employment projections for Maine. The primary long-term concern for Maine, then, continues to be its demographic situation with an aging population and little to no population growth. So, what does this tell us about our politics? It tells us that Maine is in desperate need of leadership. The role of the leader is a servant's role. It is a role of supporting the people, running interference for them, presenting an atmosphere of understanding and trust. People are people. They don't dislike work. They have egos and development needs. When they are in an atmosphere of trust, they will put themselves at risk, as only through risk is there growth and reward. Imagine if we all just decided to focus on the people's needs, putting those things that we all know we can agree on ahead of our own ideologies and preferences. We know what those needs are. We know those needs include jobs, living wages, care of our elderly, affordable housing, educational opportunities for our young people, minimizing drug addiction through aggressive education, and sustained treatment and interventions, supporting our veterans, and health care for those who are continuing to fall through the cracks. Improving and expanding on the people's needs will enable us to maximize the potentials of our labor force, our revenue base, our small businesses, the in-state retention of our younger generation, our economy, our communities, and our state. As noted by President John F. Kennedy, I quote, "Let us not seek the Republican answer or the Democratic answer, but the right answer. Let us not seek to fix blame for the past. Let us accept our own responsibility for the future." End quote. When elephants fight, it is the grass that suffers. There is nothing worse than knowing what is right and not having the power to accomplish it. If we remain strong, our deeds and our actions will speak for themselves. The strength of the citizens of Maine is in their constant desire for personal growth, inseparable from the daily exposure to the messy and unpredictable exposures of daily life. We, as a state, cannot afford to continue with the bitter fragmentation that is resulting in perpetual tension and strife. So let's all start focusing on the things that are large enough to matter and small enough to fix. These are the things that affect the lives of everyday Mainers. If we can imagine it, we can do it. I thank you for your attention.